Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking all things nanny. If you don't know, I am a full-time nanny. I have been a nanny for like 2.5 years. It is very interesting. And if you're wondering about my setup, yes, I did this for this video. Okay, so pretty much I got another nanny's like input on this, so I'm going to be sharing her thoughts and my thoughts. So I think we should just dive right into it. Okay, so first thing first, let's talk about hours. I'm going to pull up her responses. She like emailed them to me. So yeah, so when it comes to hours, I have like the best, like I'm really lucky. So when it comes to hours, I work about 50 hours a week. I work Monday through Friday, 8 to like 5:30, sometimes 6. But there are times when a parent is traveling, so I'll work. Sometimes they have to catch a flight at 5 a.m. I have to be there at like 4. I've had to be at work at 4 a.m. before, and it's like completely normal because they have to catch a flight or something. It's not as bad now because only one parent is traveling. Only one parent is traveling right now, but when I started, both parents were traveling. And there were days where like I wasn't sure when I was getting off, which is not a big deal, like it's okay, but I learned really quick not to make plans after work because you're going to be late or you're not going to show up. Vacation time, I get 2 weeks paid vacation. If they go on vacation and it doesn't align with mine, they usually pay me for that week. My overtime is time and a half. Yeah, so I'm pretty lucky. Like, it's just like if I would have any other job, even better. So what else with my hourly rate? So I've gotten raises. I've gotten a couple raises since I've started. So I haven't like been stuck at one amount. So it's really like I'm working an actual job. Like, a lot of people think it's like, oh, you're a nanny, like you probably only get like a set amount of money a week, blah, blah, blah. And it's not like that. I'm not a babysitter. Like, I legit take care of these kids. Okay, so my friend Montana gave me her hourly and how hers work, and hers are, so this is what she says. I received 2 weeks paid vacation from my nanny family. I also have something we call guaranteed hours in the nanny world, meaning if my family chooses not to use me for vacation, take a random day off, etc., I am still paid for the days/week. I'm paid 52 weeks a year, whether they use me or not. I do not have to line up vacation time with theirs. They typically travel for fall break and spring break. So I ended up with 4 weeks out of a year she has vacation time. I am considered salary. This was our choice and the easiest. Nannies should be paid hourly per state law, but I am not. Only downside to being salary, no overtime is paid. Nannies should be paid legally and on the books. Nannies are considered W-2 employees who pay into taxes just like everyone else, which that's how I am. I get a W-2 every year. They pay taxes out of my income, all of that stuff. So that is what you need. If you're looking into being a nanny or a nanny, you need to have that. That is like so important. Like, you want to be able to prove that you're making money, honestly. Like, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of money. Like, you can make a lot of money through these things. Like, I think in Ohio, the rate for a nanny is $13 to $14 or $13 to $15 and something like that. Like, you need to be able to like have proof of that. Cause that's like, if averaged out about, it's like $26,000 a year. So you're making a pretty penny just starting out. So you need to be getting a W-2. I know that I have a friend, I have a couple friends that are nannies and they don't, and it's super stressful because you're just always worried, like, what if you get caught, something, you know? So it's just really important, and you deserve it because you are taking care of their children. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. So I like this one. This is a good one. It's like, why are you a nanny? I probably should have started with this, but. So personally, I'm a nanny. Like, I became a nanny pretty much at the moment out of convenience. I was a server, and I was working a lot, and it was high demand. Like, if someone called off, you were expected to pick that up. Like, and if you didn't, you were questioned of why. But I got to the point where I was tired of working at night, like working 4:30 to 11, working every weekend. Like, it got tiring, and I was doing school online. It just wasn't working. So I got on care.com. I was like, if I get something I had a lot of experience. That's very important. If you're going to become a nanny, you need to have experience. And even some nanny jobs, they're looking for you to have a degree, which I'm working on mine. But some are like that, and you have to take that into account. But I became a nanny because, one, I loved kids, and I know kids. Like, I am good at kids. I've watched kids my whole life. It's second nature to me. And this family that I have, we clicked, like, fast. Like, I went to my first interview, and he was like, I think you're a good fit because you're the only one that I didn't feel like was lying to my face. So it was super good. But I'm a nanny because, like, it's everything to me. Like, it's my favorite thing because it works around my school schedule. You're like another family member to another family, honestly. Like, they treat you like your own if you have a good family. It's awesome. And it helps me be a better person in the end because, like, I'm learning how to be a mom pretty much. Like, I've been a nanny since these kids were 2 months old. They're now 2.5. So, like, I'm not scared to be a mom because I've seen it all. So that's why I'm a nanny. Like, I love it. Like, this is like my calling. I feel like I could not do anything else the rest of my life and I would be fine. Like, okay, so Montana shared with me why she's a nanny, and I'll just read that to you. She said, I have my bachelor's degree in early childhood education, so I always knew I wanted to do something with children. However, after my student teaching semester, I realized teaching was not for me, and that's okay. Moving to a new state after graduating, not knowing what I wanted to be when I grew up, nannying was the best solution for my problem at the time. I needed a job, and nannying is huge here in Indianapolis. I took it on, expecting the job to last a year, yet here I am, 3 years later, so happy and content where I am. I love my job as a nanny because I still get my daily interaction with kids. I still get to make an impact on kids' lives. I still get to be the fun teacher I always dreamed of being, but I also get to leave my work at work. I feel no pressure of state testing or coworkers or administration. I still get to love on my kids. It's just 3 kids instead of a classroom of 30 students. I feel genuinely happy when I drive to work in the morning. I love what I do, the impact that I am making, and the people I get to work with. I am a third parent to 3 amazing kids, and it's truly the best job in the world. Yes, you are a third parent, and some people don't really get that. Like, there are days when, like, you're getting the kid up and you're putting them to bed. And that's a third parent right there. So I think that kind of trickles into, like, how babysitting and nannying is different. So I'm going to share what I kind of think, which, like, it's just what I think. It doesn't have to be, like, what you think or what you believe, whatever. I think that you're not a nanny if you are not, like, if, like, the job has an end time. So what I mean by that is, I hear a lot of people like, oh, I'm a nanny. I watch kids, like, every weekend, every once in a while. So, like, I'm, like, a nanny. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you're not responsible for their education. You're not responsible for their, like, growth. You're not responsible for any of that. Like, when the twins were babies, at one point, Grant was behind. Like, he wouldn't sit up on his own. He was, like, 8 months, he would not. He just like, he did not care. And so we had a specialist come in and they were like, oh, I think he's fine. He's just lazy. And so it ended up that, but like, in a way, I'm responsible for that just as much as the parents are. And like, we have to work with him. But if you're babysitting, like, that's not on you. They probably won't even mention that to you. Yeah, and like if you're just babysitting for a section of time, like for a month, they need you, oh, for a month I need you like during the week. Can you do it for a month? You're still babysitting. Like, you're not nannying. You're not like, I think that nannying, you're not like, you don't have an end date. You don't have like, okay, we just need you for 2 weeks. Okay, you're not a nanny. You're still just babysitting. Yeah, I think it's just important to remember that because it can honestly be degrading to nannies when you say you're a nanny and you're not, like, because you don't know the work that goes into it. So, okay, so we're gonna read Montana's view on a nanny versus babysitter, and I love her view. I love it. She said, a nanny is and can be a true caregiver. A nanny is someone who works full-time and part-time for a family and gets paid according to their education, experience, and qualifications. A nanny's sole job is to care for the children. However, including in the jobs is children-related extras such as laundry, grocery shopping, cleaning, picking maid, living areas up. Oh, I just like stuttered. Washing bottles, doing dishes, etc. A nanny is responsible for daily routine, curriculum, feedings, transportation, and so much more. A nanny is also responsible for showing up to work 5 days a week, typically 8 to 10 hours per day. A nanny is typically permanent and long-term. A nanny often receives a W-2 benefits and contract to be signed by both parties. Whereas a babysitter is used to Whereas a babysitter is used on an as-need basis, a babysitter typically would, for a couple of hours for a date night or so, parents can run an errand on the weekend. A babysitter requires little to no experience or education. A babysitter's sole job is to supervise the children when working. There typically aren't extra duties required. That is so true. Like, as a nanny, there's some things I did not expect to do. I did not expect to do the parents' dishes. Like, I did not expect that. I understood, like, washing the kids' bottles and stuff like that, but I did not expect to show up on a Monday and be cleaning the dishes from the weekend. I did not expect that at all. Some other things I didn't expect. I didn't expect to, like, be the main bath giver. Like, I didn't expect that. I expected, like, I don't know. Like, I did not expect to be giving kids baths every day and, like, the parent not giving them baths during the week. I did not expect that. But, like, it's fine. Like, all those things are fine. Like, I don't mind doing it. It's fine. I just wasn't expecting it. I didn't expect to be, like, again, like, a third parent. You know, I expect to be, like, someone who watched the kids. You know what I mean? But you take on a lot. You take on discipline. You take on cleaning up their house, vacuuming, all of those things, because you are their caregiver. I guess that kind of goes into discipline, which with discipline with ours, obviously I can't spank their kids or something, which they don't even really do, like, which I didn't expect that. But sometimes it can get difficult. It can get very difficult when it comes to discipline because you're around them for more consistent time, and it's easier for you to be consistent with them than their parents because, again, they work through the week, they don't see them very often, so when they see them on the weekend or nights, they're not looking to discipline. And I understand that completely because that's really hard. But it can get hard for me because I come in and sometimes they act ways that I'm not used to. I'm like, do they act like this? Like, they don't act like this for me. Like, they would never do that to me. And so it's really hard. It can get really difficult. Yeah, it can get really touchy sometimes in that situation. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Okay, so another thing I wanted to cover was, like, relationship and, like, what it's like pretty much being in someone's house all the time. So at first, my relationship was a little weird. Like, I felt like I was still getting to know the parents. They didn't really know me, honestly. Like, they met me like 3 times before I started watching their kids, and that was really weird to me. Like, they just left their kids with me and were like, all right, have a good day, I'll see you after work. I'm like, what? Like, but these are your kids. Like, but in the end, it turned out really well. Like, at first it was obviously awkward. There were things that were just like weird, but now it's like I'm like their family, like, and they treat me like family. At one point, the mom I nanny for, she had lost her job, and so she was home a lot more. She was like looking for a job, interviewing. She was interviewing online, interviewing in person. Like, I was still working about the same because she was just trying to find a job. Not that she needed it, but she wanted a job. She wants to work, and so we were spending a lot more time together because she was home a lot more. So then she goes back to work, and she like comes up, she's like, I just miss you. I miss hanging out with you all the time. It was just like, you become so much part of the family. Like, she always tells me that I'm like her niece or something. So I wanted to share Montana's view because it's super similar to mine. She said, I've been with my nanny fam for 2.5 years, and our relationship has changed immensely over the years. In the beginning, I felt more like a business transaction and just an employee to them, which I found super odd, but I rolled with the punches. After being there for a few months, I realized they hadn't gotten through 8 nannies in the last 2 years. So I think their walls were up and they refused to get close to anyone again with fear they would just leave again. Forward to current day, our relationship is amazing. We chat daily. I feel part of the family. I feel loved. I feel appreciated. I feel like I belong here. And yeah, that is like so true. Like, you can really, like, when you're responsible for something, like, they're responsible for me. Like, for my, like, how I pay my bills, like, it can get just, like, weird. It can get kind of weird because you're, like, you're giving me money and I'm paying my bills and, like, we're, like, friends. It's just kind of weird. So those are, like, all the questions that I asked Montana, but, like, some things that I didn't mention is, like, how getting a nanny job happens. So how this kind of works, and I talked about this a little bit, but to become a nanny, and I think everybody pretty much goes through this, is care.com. It's super good. You sometimes have to pay. I didn't pay anything because I found a job so fast, but that was my area. What kind of happens is you typically go to an interview. I didn't meet them at their house because I was like, if you try to kidnap me or something, like, I don't know. So actually first they do a call. They call you. And like, we had this whole call and like, it was super good. Like, I talked to her and stuff. And then I met the dad in person. And that was when he was like, you're the only one that I didn't feel like was lying to me. Like, so we had a really good conversation. It was only like 15 minutes, I think. He asked me about life pretty much and what I was doing. And I told him I was in school. And so then the third time I went and met the mom in person and met the babies when they were babies. They're like 2 now. But it was like so nerve-wracking. But I got the job. It was really cool. Like, and I quit that waitressing job and I was like, see ya, like, I'm never coming back. Like, it was awesome. But so that's kind of how the job interviewing process goes. Again, different families are looking for different things. One thing I really wanted to add in was like, if you are a nanny, I want to, like, I see it a lot that you're not really getting paid what you're worth, or you're not being treated the way you're worth. And you need to make sure that you set boundaries when you become a nanny, because there are many times people get underpaid because they're at a set amount. There are many times that you're not promised what you were told, and that can be like, it's hard to get out of stuff like that. So just make sure if you're looking to become a nanny that you really like know what you want. Like, you really know what you want, because if you don't, it's really easy to get walked all over. So I just wanted to like throw in some things about my nanny job. Some things that are just like, I don't know, just like interesting facts, I guess you could say. You are really like going into someone's space. You're like your job is in someone's home. So it can be really nerve-wracking at times because, like, what if there's a nanny camera somewhere? Oh, I'm so nervous. Like, I was really nervous at first if there was a nanny camera somewhere or they had a camera somewhere, which I don't think they do. Now that I've been there 2 years, I don't think they have a nanny camera, but I think about it sometimes. I'm like, oh, they see me, like, putting my feet on their, like, coffee table. Like, are they, like, looking at me funny or something on the camera or whatever? But I don't think they do. And I want to say that it can be very emotional. Like, when I first started, I was not emotionally ready for what it was. I looked at it as babysitting, and that's completely not what it is. When I started, the twins were 2 months old. Greer cried a lot. Grant, not so much. But there were days I left and I was exhausted. Like, I was like, couldn't keep my eyes open. It was so much. You're being in this life, you take care of these kids, but then you have to go into your own life. And you're like, gosh, this is so exhausting. Like, it was, and I had like a mental breakdown. I was like, you know what? And I probably slept the whole weekend one time. And I was just like exhausted. So it's more mentally like draining than you think. And I think some people don't get that. Yeah, I would just consider that when you're thinking about this, like, you're raising someone's kids, like, you're responsible for them, and it's more of a responsibility than you think, and it's more draining than you think. But then again, I love it, and I love my job, and I love everything about it. I think some people think, oh, you're a nanny, so it's not, like, so strict, and you can probably leave whenever you want to, and you can probably, like, call off whenever you want to, and it's the complete opposite. Like, I never call off work. I called off work recently for 2 days because I had a virus. Like, I was unable to move. And with that virus, I also had my miscarriage at the same time. So that was the only time I've, like, called off work sick. Like, so because if I call off, then they have to call off. And so that doesn't really work. And if you call off too much, they're probably going to find somebody else. Yeah, and a lot of times if you're sick, the babies are probably sick because they probably gave it to you. So they're just like, why don't you come to work? Like, they're sick. Like, you're not going to get anything here. They already have it. So, yeah, I just think it's something to consider. Like, it's mandatory. It's like almost mandatory that you're at work and that you devote your life to them kids, because when they're watching every move you make, those kids are like, you're like their parent almost. They're looking at you, they're looking at what you're doing, they're listening to what you say. Like, it's just like having a child. So you're helping form this child, and you have to really consider that. I hope I answered everybody's questions. If I didn't, you can comment them below, and I'll try to, like, respond and answer it. But yeah, it's very, like, I think the nanny life is really interesting, and I think that more people could really benefit from it. Again, if you're thinking about becoming a nanny, like, reach out. I'll answer any questions. But besides that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really enjoyed making it. This is my life, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So thanks for watching.